How to quit your job and work for yourself. The big question, the question that 99.999% of people have when it comes to this whole self-improvement online world that we all kind of live and interact in, right? Everybody wants to quit their job. Everybody wants to start an online business, become a writer, be creative, become an influencer, show pictures of their butt and make millions of dollars. All types of... That's the thing about this whole scenario that we have going on, right? When I tell you that there is unlimited opportunity to make a business or a side hustle or a hobby that turns into something that can sustain yourself, the opportunities are endless. We live in a world where there are millionaires who became millionaires for no other reason than they show their butt on Instagram. All right? It's kind of cheating. It's kind of cheating. That is something that you need DNA to help you with. But there's all sorts of other businesses. There's this kid who does toy reviews on YouTube, and he's worth like $20 million. Did I mention he's 7 years old? All right, there's all sorts of ludicrous examples I could share, but then there's normal examples. People like me who write for a living full time. There are people who make art for a living full time. There are people who sell things online, little e-commerce stores who make a full living online. Okay, so there are a lot of different opportunities, but the only thing that more opportunities affords you are more opportunities. That's it. There's no guarantee that this is going to work out for you. And if we're being 100% honest, the vast majority of people who read content like this, watch content like this, the vast majority of people who are watching this video right now are never going to pull it off. Okay? That's just the truth. You know it's the truth, and I know it's the truth. And part of that reason is why I've started to try to get as clear and direct with my messaging as possible. Because I don't want to lie to you and make it seem like it's easier than it is. And I don't want to pump you up and just give you that fleeting sense of inspiration that's going to get you to the point where you try for a little bit, then you quit, and then you get mad at all of these people trying to sell you business courses and books, and you get jealous and you figure out, what are they doing that I'm not doing, right? Because it's a slog to get to the top. The thing about some of these concepts, things like the 4-hour work week, the underlying principles in the 4-hour work week in the examples are actually really good. That book gets jabbed on a lot, but in terms of concepts, the 4-hour work week is actually one of the best business books, self-improvement books ever written, right? But the problem is implementing that advice, right? If you want to quit your job and you want to work for yourself, or even if you just want to do something like switch careers, if you want to find a way to get out of a situation where you spend most of your time doing things you don't enjoy, it's just going to take an abnormal amount of effort. Okay? It's going to take you years to do it. I talked about it in my first video on the channel that in the beginning, that's going to be the hardest part. So you just want to make it to that 6 months to a year period. Then you get to more or less coast, but you're still not coasting. You still have to put in years of work before you get there, okay? So let me talk about my experience working at a job, building my business on the side, and then making it full-time and what it actually took. The first thing I want to tell you is you want to do something that's aligned to who you are. You want to do something that is aligned with your strengths and something that you're actually going to enjoy on the side, or else it's not going to be sustainable for you. Now, you don't necessarily have to be the most passionate person in the world about what you're doing, but it does have to align with your skill set. So for example, there are people who, sell random e-commerce stuff on their websites And it's not necessarily that they love selling bamboo sticks, which is a real company, by the way, a bamboo stick company that makes millions of dollars. It's not that they want to sell bamboo sticks, but they have a certain penchant for selling. They have organizational skills to where they can keep up with an inventory and track metrics and different things like that. Me, those lanes are closed off to me. Like, I'm sure I could do it, but I'm not a very meticulous person. I don't want to keep track of inventory. I'm more suited to do things in media. That's writing, communication. So the first thing you have to figure out is, what are your strengths? If you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that I harp on strengths. I wrote a book about finding your strengths. There are resources, personality tests, all of those things are going to come in handy when you pick what you want to do on the side in the hopes of quitting your job. On top of that, you're just going to want to focus on your immediate future if you want to ever end up quitting your job, okay? Most people fantasize about quitting their job, and they keep their mind in such an aspirational and vague, long-term, distant type of idea that it never becomes real enough for them to act on it. So you have to focus on what's right in front of you and do the work for a sustained period of time. So the first year, you're not going to move the needle at all. You might make some money, but you might make no money. And there are a lot of people, I get emails from people who have been writing for 6 weeks, 6 months, even a year, who are upset that they're not making enough money. No, that's not the way to think about it. The way to think about it, if you want me to put a real benchmark for you, just plan on pretty much being a failure for like the first 24 months, okay? This is the part where you're tinkering, where you're learning, where you got a little bit of a platform, a little bit of an audience. The sales are trickling in, but it's not a flood yet. So if you want a definitive number, 1 to 2 years, it's what it's going to take, okay? And in terms of running a business or an online business, there are going to be a lot of different things that you are going to want to study and learn about, regardless of whether you're going to be a writer or in e-commerce or selling art or all sorts of these little side project hustles, okay? You're going to need to learn marketing. And marketing is sort of a nebulous term that gets thrown around a lot. Marketing is more or less figuring out what people want, giving it to them, and telling them why they should want what you want. You have to be able to clearly state what your product is and who it's for. So when it comes to writing, my product is the writing, and it's for people who want to improve their lives, right? So it serves a need. I have an intuitive sense of some of the problems that people are going through in life, so I provide solutions to them via written form and media. So there's not going to be any sort of product that doesn't solve a problem or serve to some aspirational need people have. And the reason why a lot of people actually fail when it comes to business is not necessarily that you have to enjoy everything the entire time, but you don't want to get into a point where you make it all about yourself and you want to enjoy yourself too much, okay? There are a lot of people who start businesses because they're passionate about their product, because they made it. The more you focus on you when it comes to a side hustle or a business or being creative, anything like that, the more you focus on what you want, the less likely you are to get it. Because when you're doing something like this, you are serving an audience or a customer. These are the people that should be top of mind. So what you should be doing whenever you're learning marketing is seeing who is selling, who is popular, what needs are they meeting. A lot of people don't want to do the legwork. They don't want to go read reviews of a bunch of books on Amazon to figure out what's popping or not. They don't want to review products on Amazon and other e-commerce platforms to figure out what's popping. They just want to throw up their writing online. They just want to throw up their online store and just watch the sales roll in. But it's not how it works. What you need to do is observe the winners in your field. And there's all sorts of different niches online. I'm going to focus on online business because it's 2019 and online business is the quickest route to quitting your job and working for yourself. And there's a lot of different forms of it. So what you need to do is, if you're trying to build a business that's based on Instagram, see who's on Instagram. What products do they have? What needs are they serving? What hashtags are they using? How are they presenting the content? Same thing with writing. What headlines are people using? What kind of content does well with certain audiences? What websites can you promote your stuff on? When it comes to things like e-commerce, again, go on places like Amazon, see which products are hot, read the product descriptions, go to the websites and see how they're laid out. There's so many different things you're going to have to observe, but over time, you're going to develop kind of a second nature understanding of your field, which is going to help you become a better marketer. And throughout the process, you're going to learn skills that help you become a marketer, like writing copy. It's something that's going to be pretty hard for you to avoid if you're selling something. You're going to have to learn how to write in a persuasive way, even if you're not going to be a quote unquote writer. You need to learn sales. You need to learn psychology. Influence is a great book on psychology, especially how to persuade and sell to people. So Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion is a book you should be reading. You should be reading business books, taking online courses, but you should implement the advice that they give you. It's mind-blowing. I remember when I used to read blog posts and stuff about creating your own books and building a business off of writing. And then one day, you know what I did? I just followed directions. I took a course on self-publishing, and that's how I published my first 2 books. I did the course from start to finish, paid $1,000 for that course, got a crazy thousands of percents return on that because I listened and just implemented the advice. I took writing courses and I listened and implemented the advice. I read free blog posts and watched videos and implemented the advice. So there's nothing that I can tell you that's going to fill in that gap to get you to implement the advice. There are so many good resources online that you can use to figure out how to put this together. But you're going to have to learn those skills and you're going to have to implement advice. So marketing is one thing you're going to have to learn. And then you're just going to have to learn general self-improvement principles, persistence, discipline, patience. These are the cliche things that really move the needle that few people want to focus on. Everyone wants to focus on the shiny object. They want to focus on which crazy marketing funnel they can make, which awesome headline they can do, which product photo angle they can take to get the most clicks. When in reality, you should just write 100 blog posts. You should just try to get your first 100 customers. You should just put your head down and implement for 24 months and then look up to see what's on the other side of that, to see what kind of results you're going to get. And so you're going to have to learn discipline. Discipline is a skill you can learn. I used to be super lazy and a chronic procrastinator. I'm still kind of absent-minded right now, but I've developed a level of discipline, and then I work with kind of other tools and people to keep me grounded. You're going to have to figure out time. And it's not so much time management, you're going to have to figure out energy management, because you are going to have to work on your side hustle while you have a job. And it takes energy to do that, okay? In my case, I knew that when I came home from work, I was going to be too wiped out. I have a kid, I have responsibilities, got to make dinner, all these sorts of things that I had to do after work on top of already having been at work. So I knew by the time that I got all that done, I wasn't going to have enough energy to focus on my side project. So for 4.5 years, I woke up at 5 a.m. almost every day to work on my side business. And guess what? I didn't want to do it. I don't have a job now. I no longer wake up at 5 a.m. because I don't fucking want to, because it's still dark outside. And who wants to be awake when it's still dark outside? People who want to really quit their jobs do. People who are serious about having that side hustle turn into something more. And one of the things that kept me able to wake up that early every day was what happened during the shifts, right? So each time I would get frustrated at my job, I would take that and I would internalize it so that instead of me hitting the snooze button the next day, I had the voice of that client that annoys the hell out of me. They were my alarm clock. Having to drive half an hour commuting to work back and forth, that was my motivation for getting up. Having my spouse at the time have to discern between different products at the grocery store to make sure that we stayed under our budget because we were broke, that got me up in the morning, okay? And those are the reasons that you're going to have to use to fuel your exit. You're going to be like this mad scientist working on this project. You're kind of keeping it under wraps to yourself, and you're just doing it on the side, and you're not boasting about it. You're just chipping away at it. And when you're at work, if you're in the case where you hate your job, that should motivate you even more. But even in the case where you don't hate your job, I didn't necessarily hate the last job I had. I actually enjoyed it. I was working in marketing, so it lended well to my writing career. I just wanted to fully be able to do what I wanted all the time. So I did like my job, but I took the little annoying pieces of it, the fact that I had to be a certain place at a certain time, that I had certain deadlines, that even though my role was flexible, I still had certain obligations that I had no control over, and I didn't like that. And I had a side business that, while my job was great and fun, I wanted to do that side business more, right? So that's where it comes into aligning it to what you enjoy and aligning it with your strengths. So if you align things to what you enjoy, if you align them to your strengths, that's going to give you the pull of desire to work on your side business. And then in order to wake up in the morning, you use the things you don't like. You use the push. You push yourself with the things you don't like, and you pull yourself by being aligned with your strengths and doing something you enjoy. So most people, they just want to quit their job. They just want to have a bunch of money and be a millionaire and work 4 hours a week. They haven't aligned something with their strengths and actual taste, because that takes work. But when you align yourself to something like that, it's a better reason than the vague, arbitrary reason of wanting to quit your job. Everybody wants to quit their job. Who doesn't want to quit their job or switch out of it? There was a Gallup poll that said 87% of people are dissatisfied with their work. So just not liking your job isn't a compelling enough reason. It's that good push over here, but you're going to need that pull of aligning with your strengths. So do the things that I'm telling you to do. I wrote a book about finding your strengths. I'll put that in the description. I have a free guide on defining your strengths. I'll put that in the description. I have multiple pieces of content talking about how to find your strengths. After you find your strengths, then just start. Like my first video, I'll link to that. Just start. You have to get that traction first 90 days, first 6 months, first year. First 24 months, just put your head down and work. You're not going to get anywhere those first 2 years, really. But then year 3, year 4, year 5, that's when things are going to start to get serious. So around year 3 is when I published my second book and started my coaching business. Year 3 and 4 was where I found the website medium.com, which will pay you for your writing directly. And by the way, if you are a writer, get your ass over to medium.com, start an account. You can get paid directly when more people like your writing. Still, it's going to take you time to get that traction. But if you're a writer, get your ass on medium.com. No excuses. So the first 2 years, you put your head down. Year 3, year 4, things start to happen. Your product sales start to grow. You start to get clients. The skills that were very frustrating for you in the beginning are going to become second nature. You're going to build a network. You're going to have more of a platform, an audience, a following. These things will happen over time only if you put your head down and do the work. And you have to have that compelling reason, because I'll tell you what's on the other side when you do quit your job. You get all of the responsibility. You have complete control over your time, which sounds great until you have to operate without the structure that a job provides. Everything is on you. I'm very excited and happy and free, but I'm also paranoid, right? So I did things to hedge to make myself feel safer. So I saved up 6 months of cash. You should have a cash reserve before you quit your job. You should be making a certain amount of money for a consistent amount of time that was comfortable. So I had 6 months cash saved, and then I was also making 3x my job income on the side for 6 to 8 months in a row before I felt comfortable to quit. See, that's another myth about entrepreneurs, that they're bold and daring and they just jump out and take risk and burn the boats. Hell no, I got kids, I got mouths to feed, I got bills to pay. I'm not just abandoning my job. No, you do it slowly on the side over time, waking up early or staying up late, having discipline, realizing that it's going to be hard for a while until you hit an inflection point. Then it'll get easier, but then you still have to work. And then once you're still an entrepreneur, you're going to have to work hard still, and then you'll have all the responsibility, right? Most people say they want to call the shots until the shots are there, until the shots are like, all right, man, call me. We're here now. So if you think that quitting your job is going to rid you of responsibility for your life, think a fucking again, all right? Think again. You're going to have more responsibility. So that's why you shouldn't just be doing this to opt out of a job, because you're just going to be replacing one hell for another. You got to have a compelling reason to start the side business and then be able to sustain it. And you just got to decide whether that's for you. There's a lot of different routes, and I don't think this gets said enough. There are a lot of different routes that don't involve you being an entrepreneur, or you don't even have to quit your job to be happy. A lot of people just need a different job. They just need a different job, right? And the steps are the same. You might have to go back to school or learn a new skill and learn how to network on the side while you're in the wrong industry. But some people just need to switch jobs. Some people just need a job that has a better environment, or that pays better, or makes them feel a certain way. So starting an online business is just a cute idea that many people have. It's not for everybody though. So that all comes to self-awareness. I talk about this in my new book. Most people don't want to stay in their lane. Like, if you stayed in your lane, like in your competencies and temperament, you can go really, really, really high. Still exceed your expectations. So you can go vertically as high as you want, but stay in your lane. You know, if you have the temperament of an entrepreneur, become one. But if you don't, become an employee. If you have some sort of hybrid where you want to get into a better job and maybe not start a business, but just have like a little hustle, something that makes you extra money, like rentals or something like that, do that. But you just want to get to a point where you're doing what you enjoy for the most part, day in and day out, and then have enough income to sustain yourself and do things that you like to do. So you don't need to be rich, but people who say that money doesn't matter, that's dumb. We all know it matters, because when you have no money, it's no fun. So these are things that are worthwhile, right? And the message you're going to see run through everything that I write and speak about is getting started, developing discipline, aligning your life with your strengths, and staying in your lane, okay? Where I am feels good. It feels great. Achieving your dreams and becoming the person you always told yourself you could become, it feels great. It feels as great as you think it is, okay? So add that to your desire pile, start today, and good things can happen in a few years from now. All right, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. If there is a question on a video that you want me to answer, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. I'm back. I'm ready to work. I had some things going on where I wasn't consistent with the videos, but I'm not going to be a hypocrite, and I'm going to stay consistent while I'm teaching you to do the same. Later.